All right. Again, anyone else?
Tell me, how long is this supposed to last?
Oh, I just mentioned that, but you may have heard. There is nobody who knows that. How long will it last? There might someday arise a new generation who'll come up and say, enough is enough.
But aren't they, like, they're not just killing the army, correct?
Oh, they attack civilians particularly.
Yeah.
It's called terrorism. That's what terrorism. Yeah, they just attack. They stab at you from you don't know where. And they could plant a dirty bomb in the city of Atlanta today and blow up 1 million people.
I'm talking about, like, as far as, like, the American soldiers over there, are they killing civilians as well?
Okay. To answer your question in one word, yes. It can't be helped. We Americans are trying to imagine go to fight a war and only kill bad guys and leave the good alone. All right, just today, I'm not talking about, this is April 24th. On the news today, a person who was guarding American doctors killed 3 American doctors and wounded a nurse. Did anybody happen to hear about it? It happened overnight while we slept. I mean, they have daylight while we're having night. This man who did it was wearing, supposedly on our side, he was guarding our own people. But he was actually working for the enemy. So, we had the same problem. We went to Vietnam thinking we could only kill bad guys, enemy soldiers, and wound up killing civilians. Folk, I don't think it can be done. All right, so we do kill civilians. Yes, you heard me. I said that. But I don't think there's any possible way it can be avoided. Well, you can avoid fighting in the first place. No, if you don't fight them, they're going to come to you. It's something I said earlier about the Jews. Look how he's talking. The Jews used to teach pacifism. One day they got thrown alive, kicking and screaming into ovens. They don't teach pacifism anymore. And yes, the Jews, in their attempts to keep their homeland, have killed innocent civilians.
I mean, they can send people here now, right? Just because we're over there don't mean anything.
They could what?
They can send their...
That's what I was just saying. They could put a dirty A-bomb in Atlanta and wipe out 1 million people today, right now, while we're sitting here. We try hard to stop it. They don't mind, but they condemn us for killing civilians. Oh, how awful we Americans are. They condemn us for conquering, for taking some land from them, and they take land from other people all the time. But that's okay. All right, folks, I've said more than I intended to say. Anyone else? Yes.
I've heard people talk about how a lot of people don't even believe Saddam Hussein's really good.
Good point.
And so when you say that there's no end to...
There was nobody ever
warfare,
seen by any of the rest of us.
and that they're by groups. So who's the leader? Who's the leader?
The leaders, supposedly we kill the leaders from time to time, and a new person takes their place. Even if we kill, there'll always be someone else. It's like I said, no matter how many of you kill, they'll just raise up more and keep coming after us. And there's no end to it in sight. None. I wish I could be more
How
optimistic.
are they so advanced? Well, I
Go
don't
ahead.
know, like American soldiers have been there for so long, so how are they still like having like weapons and bombs and all of those type of things to like how is that?
We don't know all the methods by which the bad side get their weaponry.
Do you think other nations are helping them?
Yes.
Or what?
Like they're helping them? Like they're giving them things to keep fighting the war?
Generates money.
The communist nations and these other nations of power, they sneak around and support each other, and we can't monitor them all. Yeah, in other words, well, the thing about, we're going to talk about this later too, about weapons of mass destruction. That was a big issue when we went to war against Iraq in 2001. but 2002 went to war with weapons of mass destruction. We got over there, we didn't find them. But now they're using WMD weapons of mass against the Syrians. And one of your classmates is a Syrian, at least one. And so in other words, did the weapons of mass destruction exist? Well, obviously they did because they've been used. Immigration. Now, as Europeans' population declines, and that is a problem, Europe's population is declining drastically. To get the work done, they'll call in foreign workers, and the foreign workers oftentimes will not blend in with society, and they often carry their customs with them that does not sit very well in European settings. I mean, hey, come on, supposing like you were a leader of a European country, and some father killed his daughter because she did not follow his religious practices. Can you allow this to go on? Hardly. And I mean, this has happened here in the United States even. So, they also, another issue is some women from some of these countries do not believe they should show their face in public. So they want to have their face covered, and even when they're getting a picture made for the driver's license. And courts throughout the West, including the United States, have ruled that no, a woman must at least show her face long enough to have her picture made for a driver's license. And then if she wants to like use a debit card at a supermarket, she has to uncover her face to show that the picture on the ID is the same as her. And this creates some problems. Some of them say that, hey, it's against my religion to show my face in public. So this has created problems. And again, there's no easy solution. And some countries have tried to restrict immigration. Now, this is an issue in the United States also. We get a lot of immigrants coming up from Mexico, and a lot of them are here illegally. And they once here in our country, they want to get our benefits. So they want to be able to send their children to our schools and get medical care when they need it at our
They're not on it from Mexico.
What's that?
We're saying immigrants from Mexico, but they're not on it from Mexico.
They're not all, okay, I'll stand corrected. Thanks for correcting. They're not all from Mexico. I mentioned Mexico because the Mexicans are the easiest, have the easiest time getting across the border.
No, it doesn't.
All right. If you want to correct me, go right ahead. But a lot of illegal immigrants are from across the ocean also. Okay, I'll stand corrected. Illegal immigrants coming in the United States, and they want to get our benefits, including our access to our medical facilities and access to our public education.
So why are they considered immigrants? Why don't they try to come over as a citizen first?
Because the citizen process is very
it's very lengthy.
It's very long. It's very
yeah,
long.
they have to learn the English language for one.
First of all, to start the process, you have to be in your own country and apply to be a U.S. citizen. Then after X amount of years, you are eligible to come to the United States on some sort of visa, something like that, in order to stay for the remainder of your citizenship process to stay in the United States. And then after a while, then you're eligible to take the citizenship test. And the citizenship test is like, who was the first president, why, like, things that we learned.
How long does the president hold office? How long
Things
elections? Yeah,
that we know. Now, if you're under the age,
of
now if you get your citizenship at under the age of 18, you're eligible to go to our United States, to our schools, and don't have to take that citizenship test because you learned that in school. And that's how the citizenship process is. And the reason why they want to hold down the immigration and the legal immigrants coming into America, first of all, what the biggest problem is citizenship process. And they want to change how that is worked to make it not as tedious as it is.
Okay, I'm glad you said, you probably know more about the subject than I do.
I truly do.
You said it, okay, you took it right out of my mouth. But it's easier to just sneak in and try to blend in somehow. It's easier that way. And also they can find jobs doing things that Americans won't do. I mean, look at a road construction crew these days, and you can pretty well guess that most of them were born in some other country besides the United States. Or when it comes time to harvest Georgia's peaches, they hire immigrant workers like crazy to pick their peaches, and they do a good job doing work that American young people just simply are not willing to do.
Nope.
I mean, hey, I'm the father of a 16-year-old son, and he's going to turn 17, and I try to encourage him to get out of the house. And I signed for my daughter to buy a brand new car because she did get out of the house and get her a job, but she hadn't been working long. She got out of college, hadn't been working long enough to get credit for a new car. I went with her and I signed, co-signed. I would not do this for anybody else but a child. I said, I was a month younger than you when my daddy signed for me to buy my first new car. A 1973 Volkswagen Super Beetle. That was the old way. I said, I was a month younger than you are. And he watched as she drove the car around. Now she drives pretty much anywhere she pleases. He'd think, hey, he should have incentive to get out and get him. He doesn't. No incentive, whatever. Just wants to sit on it. I don't have to work. I'm concerned about it. But then again, that's a typical attitude of American young people. I'm not going to do that kind of work, picking peaches.
Nope.
No. Well.
I mean, they do have farmers. That's what they do.
Have what?
Farmers.
Come harvest time, there's not enough farmers to pick all the peaches. See, they grow so many, and if you don't know, there are not enough farmers to pick them, so they have to hire what we call temporary help, just enough to get the peaches in the bushel baskets to take to market, and that is more than any farmer can do. So that's where they have to hire help, and guess where that help comes from?
My grandfather says that when he was young, the way he visited the United States was employers would come down to Mexico and just be like, who wants to come work for a set amount of time? And then they would take them up. And then come back down.
Well, because they couldn't get Americans to do that kind of work. And then they'd get these foreigners to come in, and again, a lot of them are in fact Mexican. Not all, but a lot of them are. All right. Anyone else? I mean, again, folks, this is not ancient stuff. This is not like talking about Napoleon. We're talking about Christopher Columbus. This is 21st century right here. Very relevant, very up to the movement. Green movements. Hey, folk, 48 hours ago, we were celebrating Earth Day. I lived through the first Earth Day. I was a junior in college when the first Earth Day was started, 1970, and it was somewhat sort of hippies. We believed at that time that if we didn't do something to clean up our environment, the air would be unbreathable now. And it might have. In Ohio, my home state, a river emptying into Lake Erie caught on fire. And when your river catches, you can't put it out with water because, hey, it's sitting on water. You know, all the water does is raise the level of fire a little bit, but the fire keeps burning. They had a difficult time putting it out. Eventually it got out. The Great Lakes, the chemicals, see, all right, if you know anything about water, oil floats on top of water, and gasoline will float. And if you ever have an oil fire, and they train us in this at Lockheed, don't put water on it. You'll be lucky if you get it out. All you do is spread it out farther. But a river caught fire. The Great Lakes once were almost dead. Well, pollution laws were passed, and in part thanks to the Green Movement. I mean, something had to be done. Today we have about 10 times more automobiles than we had in 1970, and the air in our big cities is more breathable. So folk, next time you have to go and get your car given an emissions test, be glad you have to. I mean, some people, well, I don't need an emissions test. Yes, you do. Because in places like Mexico and China, they don't have them. And I visited Mexico, I visited Jamaica once. They have about 10% of the cars we do, and the air is dirtier there than it is here. China is notoriously bad for, in fact, China's pollution is reaching us now. Again, we've passed pollution control laws to get our cars to emit cleaner air. Unused gas has been pumped back into our car engines, and again, makes for a much cleaner environment. So we are concerned about, you know, I mean, I do not advocate polluted environment. But some people have gone so far as to say that the rising earth temperatures are as a result of man-made pollution. You can determine that, you can decide what you want to about that. I want to remind you folk, at one time the whole earth had a uniform tropical climate. I'm talking about even the North and South Pole had a tropical climate. And what was life like? Anybody remember what I said about it? What was life like when we had a uniform tropical climate?
Is that one that during the dinosaurs?
During the day, the life was, there were no deserts. I mean, life was abundant during the time of the dinosaurs. And giant trees, I mean, trees that reached 200 and 300. We have a few of those trees still around. But, and right here in Georgia, sloths that would get as big as elephants. There's a statue of one there at the University of Georgia campus of the sloth bones, where the sloth literally was as big as an elephant. Giants of animals. Buffalo used to be bigger than elephants. We have their bones. I mean, you can, again, if you don't believe it, do the research. During the Cretaceous period I'm talking about. Createous. I looked it up recently to make sure I'm still on the right track with it. Yes, there was a time when the earth had a uniform tropical climate, and then it was hotter than it is now, and life was never better. And of course, after going through the terrible winter we went through in this country, is having a more difficult time believing in global warming. Global warming, though, is a reason for every hurricane. Global warming is the reason we have cold winters. Global warming is the reason for hard freezes and big snowstorms in mid-April. Blame it all on global warming. I don't know, they're going to get it right. Last year they predicted a big, heavy hurricane season. We didn't have one. So this year, oh no, we missed last. We're going to get it right this year. I don't know what to predict, but whatever it is, they're going to get it right. That's it. Actually, I don't think we can predict these things. We can't.
They're natural.
They'll either occur or they won't. And as for the global warming, folk, it was supposed to have gone up to here by now. Instead, in 1998, it leveled off. And the prediction that they were talking about, the predicted heat, simply has not happened. All right, anyways.